Basketball has been a stepping stone to give Dwayne a platform to make a difference well beyond the court. Our next guests say basketball can lay the foundation for success in life, especially for at-risk kids. And they're proving it with their not-for-profit in South Central LA called Forward Progress. Let's welcome the founders, Mark May and Devin Terry. Welcome, meet Journey.
Hello, hello.
Meet Gabrielle, meet Dwayne.
Hello, hello. Yes,
so you have different career paths. So what led you to start this?
You're right. We do have different career paths. I grew up in Compton, California. Grew up seeing a lot of my friends, my peers fall victim of gang circumstances and things like that. Been down that road, you know what I mean? Seen all those things, you know, seen a man get shot before, you know, in front of my eyes, you know. But being able to have sports as an outlet, you know, that was what grounded me. That's what kept me where I needed to be, kept me away from those moments where some of my friends didn't have that chance, right, because of the things that they were faced with. I never met my father before, so having those coaches serve as that male mentor to teach me the intangible things that's going to help me become a better man, that was important for me. That was important. So getting into education, started off as a PE teacher and a coach because I knew I wanted to give back in that way.
Yeah.
Continue my career in education, vice principal, and now I'm the proud executive director of an organization that bridges the gap between law enforcement and the community through youth sports.
So important.
Yeah.
So tell us your story, how you got involved.
So I grew up in South Central. Again, same situation, grew up with a fatherless home. See many of my friends succumb to gang violence and drugs. Personally, I got kind of involved as well, but luckily I had a strong mother who was able to push for me. Because of that, I became a probation officer. And that, well, the reason I was there for that was because I wanted to work with kids who dealt with the same circumstances I did. 10 years into my profession, I went ahead and as a kid, I came through the doors, I looked at him and I was like, wow, he looks very familiar. What had happened was it was a child that I met 4 years prior at his school. I went to the case file, I saw he was there for robbery. I called Mark. I said, look, man, I understand we are both working two different spectrums, but what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen again for the next generation? Then Forward Progress was born.
I love the name.
Yeah.
Forward Progress started as a summer program initially, right?
Started as a summer program. You know, from that conversation with Devin, you know, and I that we had an idea about starting a summer camp where we can take these young people, bring them together, and teach life skills. That was what the focus was. It was life skills. But then I'm like, you know, how we get them together? You know, and I'm gonna be honest, like you, D-Wade, hoops is all I knew, bro. So like, hoops is what got these kids together. We brought these kids together under the umbrella of basketball because as a coach, my biggest emphasis is making sure that kids have fun. That's it. I don't care if you want to be pro and do all this. I want you to have fun and respect the game for what it is. And that's exactly what we did. And these kids came back every single day. We had 5 pillars that we emphasized that really shaped the lives of these young people. And every single day we hammered in on those pillars and we made sure that these kids left with something other than basketball. One of the last days of the camp, our pillar was on leadership, or our day was on leadership, and Kurt Rambis popped up. He popped up doing the little ride along and he was like, yo, like, what's going on here? We had a conversation. He told me, he says, this is incredible. You can't wait till next summer to do this again. These kids are really learning stuff. And like 30 minutes later into a conversation between us and Kurt, like the I Play, I Lead Academy was born, which turned into a year-round academy where now we meet once a week on Wednesdays. We have a virtual option where we meet on Mondays and have meaningful conversation with our kids. We have an activation once a month on Saturdays where we bring career exposure events to our kids so they can see financial literacy, so they can see different things, opportunities, right? So it's us coming together, giving hope and access and opportunity to these kids through the resources that we have through our nonprofit. And that's where we're at now. We're building. We're giving these kids free tutoring service, free resources that they don't have access to, you know, because they don't get past the 110 freeway, right? So we're bringing them to them.
That's so important. How did sports affect you? And I know that sports kept me, well, first of all, kept my grades up. They wouldn't allow you to play unless I kept my grades up. Right. And same thing with choir or drama or anything like that. How do you think it impacted you as a youth?
Yeah, well, first of all, you guys are doing the work. You know, applause to you guys for actually doing the actual work and not just talking.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in the inner city, it's loud. It gets loud. Sports quieted down for me a little bit, right? It was a lifeline, and that lifeline saved my family's life. And to be a part of sports at a young age, you know, it's not a lot of winning that goes on in the inner city of Chicago, where I grew up. And so to be a part of winning, to be a part of community, to be a part of friends, from people from different communities,
Teamwork.
from different cultures, from different beliefs, from different backgrounds. You're able to learn, you know, how to be, how to act, how to talk, how to speak with people who don't look like you always, right? So sports opened my eyes up to the world being a lot bigger than what I just seen on my front door and my front window growing up in the city. So it's very important.
Yeah, I agree. Now I want to introduce you to someone in the audience who's been in the program since the start. Say hi to Chance, everybody. What's up, Chance? So, Chance, you say being a part of this, it really surprised you, right?
Right. So being a part of the program, it surprised me because as a young man, 12 years old, like you, D. Wade, I had aspirations of being a young NBA player coming up, but I later found out that that wasn't my thing, you know, sport. But, you know, coming into the program thinking that it's just dribbling drills and shooting and basketball, it actually turned into characteristic building skills and different ways that you can handle conflict and handle lifelong situations. So now 16-year-old me, a youth leader who leads calls and leads different talks. With these pillars, two pillars that stuck with me are courage and resilience, you know, the ability to bounce back. And the program has brought smiles to people's faces, different kids, because you never know what people are going through outside of this program. You know, you never know what they're going on at home. You know, living in Compton and Watts, California, it's rough out here. So coming to this program, it's like they don't want to leave with the smiles on their faces. So from a summer basketball camp for 2 weeks to every week, I see you on Mondays and Wednesdays on Zoom and in person.
Yeah, that consistency is so important for kids. And I grew up without my father as well. And it's so important to find those figures in your life.
Absolutely.
To help guide you, because everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves that. So, well, our friends at Conagra Brands Foundation love the work that y'all are doing to create safe spaces where all kids have a place to play, thrive, and be healthy. And opportunity, that is the key. That's why they're gonna donate $20,000 to Forward Progress.
Serious? That's
Yes,
happening right now?
yes.
That's big time.
He just said, whoa.